Riding off-road is one of the most fun things you can do on your motorcycle. It allows you to slide the rear around a little bit. It makes sure that you can grow your skill set and you can go and explore. You don't have to go the long way around, but you can certainly have some fun with your motorcycle, even in a little gravel pit.
The only problem with riding off-road for beginners is that there's a whole new rule set, but unlike when D&D updates their rules, you have to forget everything you thought you knew about riding on pavement when you decide to hit the dirt. Sure, the laws of physics are the same, but the way you ride has to change.
Don't believe me? Try dragging your knee in the dirt and let me know how that goes.
Today we're going to be going over 5 essential dirt bike skills that you need to learn so you can stay upright on the trail. Now, I don't have everything down pat when it comes to riding off-road. These skills will definitely help you when you start your first forays onto your trails. Now we can cue all those keyboard comment warriors telling us that we don't know what we're doing.
Let's start off with something simple, or at least it sounds simple when you say it out loud. Stand up on your pegs. This one's gonna make an immediate difference in your off-road riding, and in fact, let's see how it looks on the bike.
Now when you sit on a motorcycle and you ride it off-road, on the easy-going stuff like this, it's really not that bad. It's only when you start running into big rubble and rocks and things like that where you're really going to want to feel the difference when it actually comes to sitting on the motorcycle. Now as we enter this section over here, undulations are going to start to increase a little bit, and if I stay sitting, I'm going to get this thing way out of shape and way out of sorts. It's definitely doable, but it's a lot better if you just stand up. Once you stand up, you let the bike work underneath you, everything starts coming together a little bit better. Your confidence level is going to go up because that motorcycle is allowed to actually work underneath you. It's not going to get unsettled by things, and you're able to actually use the motorcycle the way it was designed and intended.
But that begs the question, why? Why does simply standing up improve your ability to ride off-road? Well, it does 2 things. First of all, it lowers your center of gravity. Think about it. If you're sitting down on a motorcycle, where's your weight?
On the seat?
That's correct.
Oh, yeah.
When you're sitting down, the vast majority of your body weight is high up on the saddle, which raises the overall center of gravity of the motorcycle. A high center of gravity makes the bike feel heavier when you ride slowly because that weight moves outside of the footprint a lot faster.
By contrast, standing on your pegs actually does 2 things. First, it spreads your weight out across the motorcycle because the pegs are a little bit wider, and secondly, it gets your weight lowered down. A rider like me, fully standing on this motorcycle, weighs about 180 pounds, and you want that weight nice and low down near the engine and the frame rails.
The second benefit is that your knees can act as a suspension of their own, causing your weight to be sprung relative to the bike. This is more important over obstacles where your bike suspension is already working hard.
So if you're sitting down on your motorcycle, the suspension has to account for not only the weight of the motorcycle, but also the weight of the rider. And that means you're going to blow through the travel a lot more quickly, and honestly, it's just going to be a little bit more uncomfortable on your taint.
When you stand up on your motorcycle, your knees will actually act as a suspension component, working with your motorcycle suspension so that you can suspension while you suspension. In short, standing on your motorcycle is just great, and you should be doing it. Yeah, it takes a little bit of stamina, but as you ride longer and further, you'll build up that endurance and be able to do it all day long.
Before we move on, I need to take a second to remind you that today is the last day you can get entered to win the CRF 300L you're seeing in this video. You have until midnight tonight to get entered, and if this video is working and getting you excited to go off-road, the CRF is perfect for you. Click that link in the description down below and check out shop.yammynoob.co where you can get max entries and 10% off any merch purchase using the code DUALSPORT. Remember, that's code DUALSPORT for max entries and 10% off any merch order. You have until midnight tonight to get entered to win. So now that we've covered standing on the motorcycle, the next thing that you're going to move on to is moving on the motorcycle. More so than other types of riding, off-road riding is extremely active and you're constantly going to be moving around on the bike. I'm not going to go into the specifics of how you should be moving because you're going to end up developing your own style, but I do have some tips and tricks for you to help speed you along. The first thing you'll want to do is practice moving around on the bike. This is something that I learned when I was out at Zakar, but it's easy to practice. Simply pick up one foot and rest it on the seat, then put it back and switch legs. If you want to get fancy with it, you can move your whole leg over to the side and practice riding side saddle. Now, admittedly, there's not a whole lot of point to this aside from looking super cool. This is just something that's going to help you get really familiar with moving your weight around on the motorcycle. However, while you're practicing this, it is going to be important that you pay attention to how shifting your weight changes the riding angle of the motorcycle. That's going to be important in a minute. Once you're comfortable doing that, find yourself a nice long stretch of road and do slaloms, otherwise known as weaving, like an overserved bar patron at last call. You can start off going fast and doing narrow S's, but as you get more comfortable, slow it down and make them really wide. Now this is where I'm going to mention the thing that completely leveled up my off-road riding skills, and that is counterweighting your turns. You can do a whole bunch of fancy stuff like dragging the rear brake or sticking your foot out while you're riding, but nothing is going to give you the meteoric off-road riding gains like sticking your ass outside the high side of a turn. The reason this works is because it keeps your weight down low on the tires and shifts your center of gravity closer to the footprint. You're going to get a lot more grip and stability than you think simply by shifting your weight to the outside of a corner. Now you fast boys out there are probably thinking that this is the complete opposite of what you're supposed to do on the street, and you know what? You're 100% right. Congratulations. It's one of those things that you're going to have to unlearn if you want to go off-road.
You'll know you're getting real good at this when you can keep the turn going, go full 360, and not put that inside foot down like this. Feel free to dab while you're practicing, but don't get in the habit of doing that because you can cause yourself some real damage down the line.
To be one with the motorcycle, the rider must be like water. Be formless and contour to fit the land beneath your tires. Respond to an obstacle not with resistance, but flow around like a stream, effortless and with grace.
Have you ever been riding around on your motorcycle and caught a tank slapper? You know, that thing where your handlebars shake side to side real violently like, and you beg to sweet baby Jesus that you get through? Yeah, that's just another Monday off-road.
When you're riding off-road, you're going to be riding over rocks, gravel, trees, maybe even a fallen lesser ADV rider. And so you're just going to want to let the bike do its thing. Don't try to fight it, just let those bars move in the way they want to move.
It's going to feel terrifying the first time you're riding off-road and hit a rock just the wrong spot. Your handlebars violently whip from side to side, but as long as you keep your hands loose on the bars and your throttle steady, you'll be able to ride over a lot more than you might think. You're just going to have to trust your bike and let it work beneath you. If you're riding around off-road and you're forcing the bike to stay on line by grabbing the crap out of the handlebars like they've got your rent money in them, you're gonna have a bad time. Not only are you gonna tire yourself out really quickly, but the bike is gonna feel super unstable.
So what does it mean to be confident on your motorcycle? Does it mean that you're like Poltaras and you just crush over mountains and, you know, conquered any obstacle? Or does it mean that you're confident in your skill set enough to ride off-road and enjoy yourself? And if you have a little whoopsie-daisy or something, you're totally fine with it.
Well, to me, it's the latter. Confidence off-road is one of those things you're going to build over several trips to the dirt, and honestly, you're only going to be really confident when you accept the way of the warrior, death.
Obviously, I'm joking, but the sentiment is there. You need to be comfortable with the fact that you're going to drop your bike. You might low side and yeah, you're probably going to hit the dirt. It happens to the best of us, and more so than riding on track or on the street, you need not fear the crash because it's gonna happen.
Now look, I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm just saying it because crashing is part of the fun. The more you ride, the more you're going to want to attempt those hill climbs or those scary descents, because if you keep riding the same obstacles over and over, you're just not going to get better. So trust your bike, stand up on your pegs, and just frickin' send it, my dude. Ah, did you see that?
Hey, you know, you might end up sending it into a bush at some point, or you might crash into a small little pit somewhere. But honestly, those are the water cooler moments you'll end up chatting with your coworkers about. It's like swapping bug stories in Skyrim or talking about something else like that. It's fun to share, and it's just gonna happen to the best of us.
Well, you done did it. You crashed your motorcycle. Whoop-de-doo, happens to the best of us. But the question is, do you know how to pick it up? Look, lifting your motorcycle is something that everybody off-road is gonna have to do. Unfortunately, there's only one correct way to do it. Thankfully, I'm gonna show you how. Even though we recommend riding off-road with a buddy so that you can have a second pair of hands when you drop the bike, it's worth practicing picking it up on your own just in case. First things first, you'll want to make sure that your bike is off.
Most modern motorcycles have tip-over sensors that'll kill the engine when it's exceeding a certain lean angle, but who knows, maybe you have big-ass bags on your motorcycle and it didn't lean over far enough. In that case, go kill your engine and make sure it's not running on the side, because that's bad for a whole lot of reasons.
Next, sit your butt on top of the seat. That way you can get yourself into a perfect leg lift position. Hopefully you didn't skip leg day.
Next thing you want to do is grab your handlebar right here, find another spot in the back of the bike to grab onto, and then get yourself into this nice chair position. Make sure you're lifting with your legs, and as you go, take baby steps back while you lift the bike upright.
The hardest part is getting the bike moving, but once you start standing it upright, you'll notice that it gets progressively lighter as you go. Then get the kickstand down, check out your levers and pivot points, and then get back on the trail.
Now, if you're off-road with a buddy and you drop the motorcycle, the job's actually really easy. It's the exact same for the dude who's doing the lifting. The other guy is going to stand on the rear tire, grab the motorcycle in some sturdy spot like where the bags are on the frame, and then on a 3 count, you're gonna throw your weight backwards and let the bike fall upwards towards you. You wanna show them how it's done?
Yeah, you're gonna help me, right?
No, I was just gonna stand here and laugh.
Get on the tire, man, come on.
Okay. All right, 1, 2, 3. And then down on the kickstand she goes.
All right, folks, those are our 5 essential off-road riding tips that we have gleaned in our many, many years of riding off-road, right, Spot? We have decades of experience.
Oh yeah,
so
we've been doing this forever. We're old pros, man.
yeah, we're just old pros over here. Make sure you get entered to win this CRF over here. It's the last day to get entered to win. Use the code DUALSPORT on shop.amity.code. Get 10% off your merch order. That's hats, t-shirt, flip-flops, whatever you want. You'll actually get max entries for the month to win this thing. Don't miss out. This thing is super fun. We'll catch you in the next one. See you later. Keep watching Amy Noob!